Hey guys, and welcome. Me and Bane, we're talking about what we wanted from Destiny now that Bungie will have complete developer freedom. This is our discussion of what we think would make Destiny a better game. Enjoy.
One thing I definitely want more of in Destiny 3, and that'd be events because we don't get a lot of them in Destiny 2, that's for sure.
Dry
More,
seasons.
yeah, dry seasons when nothing's going on. Like, I kind of wish we got SRL back because we don't have it in this game, and we kind of lost it toward the end of D1, but you could use it in private matches. But SRL's just been gone. We need that. They're taking trials away. Destiny 3 is going to need that.
We,
Some
oh, sorry, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
some form of faction rallies in D3 would be cool. That's about it.
Is that it?
Uh,
Well, because, going on this, I had a fucking awesome idea that I kind of brought up, but, I brought up to you last night when we was kind of talking about some things we wanted from Destiny 3. But
yeah,
I think that the dungeon, lost sectors of Destiny 2, I think they're wasted developer time. And it's a cool thing that I think that they should do is I think that they should make dungeons worth grinding. And then not only that, every week maybe have like a heroic dungeon or maybe like one changes to like max light or close to max light and there's like a boss fight and maybe that boss fight has like a mechanic along the lines of like what you'd see in a raid, some sort of raid mechanic to beat the boss. And if I just think that'd be a really good idea. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. That's a good
that'd
ass
be
idea.
cool.
That'd be fun. That'd keep a good grind in the game. Because right now, like all those lost sector bosses, like all the lost sectors they made and the bosses are just they're mediocre, really.
Yeah, and two other things, and then I guess we'll move on. Is I think they should make Iron Banner seem more important because right now Iron Banner just seems lame, and I they also need to do the same with like holiday events like Crimson Days and the Dawning's normally pretty big, but like the few holiday events they have are just kind of like meh. They're
Hmm.
just Eververse.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Moving on to the
I.
next thing,
Oh, yep. Go ahead.
though, is I hope strike specific loot returns, but I hope it returns
But
in a
what do you
better
mean,
way.
Bane? Strike specific loot is in the game. What's wrong with it?
I hope it returns in a better way. It being locked behind the Nightfall is it's bullshit, and I know that it's not going to change in D2. Bungie is just they don't want to change it. So I hope that when D3 rolls around, it gets it makes its way back in heroic strikes, and I hope that there'll be more of it because I mean I'm not sure if every strike has one right now. I I think every strike needs a specific like loot to it, and it should be in heroic strikes and not nightfalls.
Yep, I agree. I agree with that one heavily. I don't know if this is actually something that we planned on talking about, but I think armor is a big problem for Destiny because there isn't nearly enough of it. And I don't know. I mean, I might. This might be just personal opinion, but I think Destiny One armor looked way better than Destiny Two armor, and it just doesn't seem like there's much armor at all.
Yeah, and a problem with that is there's a lot of reskins as well, and that goes for weapons.
Exactly. Big
And
problem.
yeah, I mean I wear D1 armor in D2 right now, so
What does
that's a
that say
sign of
about
anything.
talk about reskins
Yeah, well, that's just the armor in Destiny 2 is so bad. I gotta wear reskinned armor.
from Destiny?
Yeah,
Oh, that's perfect.
but yeah, we need less reskinned weapons because reskinned weapons are super lame. We need better looking armor and then less
Please,
reskinned
thank
armor.
for Titans. Please, thank you, Bungie. Please and thank you.
I'll thank you as well because I'm sick of looking at Push's ugly ass.
It's horrible. My Titan looks awful, and it is not. It's Bungie's fault. Bungie's taking the rap for it. Anyways,
Yeah,
um, is that all on that subject? You want to move on?
Yeah, other like they did try a little bit to make weapons a little bit less reskinned in Iron Banner, but you can tell they're just Gambit reskins. So like I don't want like the halfway point where it's like the geometry is barely changed. Like I
Hmm.
want like for every different event and different faction, I want like completely different weapon models. Like
Yeah.
I don't want just barely changed or like a couple little things are on the gun now instead of
Is
being
it
like just a color swap.
is it just me, or did event armor like Iron Banner armor and Trials armor look way better in D1 too?
Yeah, it did weapon or just ornaments in general did as well.
They must have got rid of whoever was the head guy over making armor in D1 and hired some other guy, because I don't know, man. You can tell it's changed from, like, it's a bad change from D1 to D2. Like, D2 armor looks terrible in my opinion. Like, there's not many good looking armor sets at all. None for Titan, not to mention. I mean, I got to keep throwing my fucking Titan under the bus here, but jeez, man,
Yeah,
no good
and
armor for him.
and something else that didn't change from D1 to D2 that I hope changes in D3 is the supers still don't feel powerful. It feels like shit just takes way too long to regen, like your abilities, and they just don't feel like they do enough.
I've
And
been
it just
saying this since Destiny 1's launch. I've been
yeah
saying that exact same thing. Most of them, I mean, they made a kind of a change in Forsaken, adding the new supers. Like, some of them feel cool and powerful. I mean, they didn't buff how fast you get them. I mean, armor pieces can do that and everything. But even then, it's just the rate at getting them is so low, especially when you got Anthem that has just barely coming out. Well, I guess it's already out if you have EA access, but Anthem, like, its ability usage all the time, like 24/7. Like, you could always use an ability. And then in Destiny, and they feel powerful too in Anthem. That's what I really like
yeah
about Anthem, is they feel powerful. Like, using the Storm in Anthem is something else. It's a good
feel like a
feeling in
beast.
gaming. Yeah, it's a
That's
good
what that's
feeling.
what that's what a warlock should feel like in Destiny.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. And then not only that, and I mean, I'm gonna go kind of off topic for a second. We can come back. We need we need more ability powers too, because like I just feel kind of, I feel like Guardians are like these, crazy super, beings, and they have these powers, but it's like I just think it's lame that they just charge up one power like every 5 minutes. Like, it's the same power. Like, well, let's get some other abilities, Bungie. Like, throw us some other abilities. Like, if they replace the nade and the melee, like, whatever. But like, let's get some other abilities and mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's not like if you breaking canon or anything because in like cutscenes you see characters like Cade Six and all them use super abilities multiple times within seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the one of the very first missions of D2, Ikora uses two Nova bombs, one right after the other. So, I mean, I don't think we should be able to do that, but like,
Yeah, yeah, but I don't know. I just think that supers are just lacking a super feeling. Like, they just don't feel that great.
yeah,
I mean, like I said, some of them are better in Forsaken. Like, there's some pretty cool ones, like the Warlock beam that you shoot out of your hands is pretty fucking cool. And it's definitely, there's some step ups, as far as supers. But
yeah,
I feel like they still have a long way to go as far as supers and abilities.
yeah. And something else that just doesn't feel good either is when PvP just completely ruins the PvE experience.
Oh,
Like,
dude.
they really did that in D2. D2 it started out with like what seemed like a way to balance PvP, but it just really ruined PvE. Like going into D2, we had two primary weapons, and I don't know
Uh,
why.
I like to forget these times.
Well, I know why because of PvP, but like I don't know why they'd make that decision. It's so dumb. Like so you'd be doing your PvE activities like the raid or something, and you got
Mm-hmm.
an auto rifle and a scout rifle, and then maybe your sniper rifle as your heavy and not a rocket launcher or anything. So that's cool.
Let
But they fixed that, but there's still kind of PvP balance ruining PvE.
The thing that I think is stupid, which, I mean, yeah, it's trying to be like an MMO style game, So like I get that you want to use your same build in PvE as you do in PvP. Well, kinda, not really actually, because even then, like you don't use the same PvE armor and well, maybe armor, but weapons that you do in PvP. So like, why? I think a simple fix to this would be, is that why don't they make it like if they were to do something like that, like why did they make that like go span across PvE and PvP? Because something easily that I think, I mean, I'm not a game developer, obviously, but something that I think would have been like a way better route is like for PvP specifically, you say like you have a PvP loadout and a PvE loadout, and then your PvP loadout maybe lets you use two primaries that you own, and then like either a heavy or a secondary, or like whatever they call the secondary slot one. Like I think they, you know what I mean? Like just have two builds that you can choose from, like your PvE and your PvP build, and then maybe when you go into PvP, you can just choose between two primaries that you own, because that's what they are. They're literally no different. They're just primaries with elemental damage on them.
Yeah, and like they started separating the PvP and PvE balance a little bit after Forsaken, which is good. But I want to see them do more of it. And like the one thing that does scare me is with Trials not returning. This is kind of going back to the events, is I don't want them to like kind of just forget about PvP as well, though, because like with games like Anthem that don't have it at all, and them not having Activision looking over their shoulder, they might kind of just like throw PvP on the back burner, which I like PvP a lot, but so it's kind of I guess a double-edged sword. We get more PvE, but we lose PvP a little bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then
Well,
when we get too much PvP, we lose our PvE.
yep. I could see what you're talking about there. Like me personally, like I liked Destiny 1 PvP, and Destiny 2 PvP is a lot more fun in its current state than it was at the launch of D2. I like to forget those times. But but like I don't know. I mean, it definitely has a place, obviously. Like people love PvP in Destiny. But I just wish they'd find a better way to balance that. Which, I mean, now that they've kind of went back, I mean, they don't really need to as much, I guess. But, I don't know. I wish they'd keep the PvP, PvE separate, you know. Like, I wish it wouldn't be just, like, the same thing, because some stuff is just too OP to be in one or the other.
Yeah, and I hope that if they decide to stop making PvP balance take precedence over PvE, is I hope they can start making some like stupidly ridiculous OP exotics for PvE. Because
Same.
the problem was they'd make like OP exotics for PvE, like they'd seem like they're for that, and then it just kind of ruin balance in PvP.
Oh my gosh, what
like
was
with
it?
armor and stuff.
What was it called when Gambit? What was that weapon that everybody was using when Gambit first came out? And
Sleeper Simulator.
yes, dude, that thing made Gambit not fun. It was that bad.
Yeah. Well, now we got the Queenbreaker's bow, which is arguably better, but
yeah. Well, I don't like Gambit anyway, so I don't have to deal with it. Thank God.
yeah. But yeah, the Sleeper is supposed to be, even in D1, it was supposed to be a high damage weapon for PvE, and then it comes to D2 and it becomes the best weapon for
becomes a Spartan laser.
And
it's easier to use.
I'm gonna add another thing to our topics. Is I hope we can do as many revamped old exotics in D3. Like there's part of me that wishes they'd bring the last word back again in D3, but honestly, any of the old exotics from D2 or D1 don't have a place anymore. Like you just need to forget about them, because like when we get all these brought back old exotics, we don't get anything new. Like we get less new exotics.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd rather see new stuff than old stuff.
I mean, that's true. That's true. You know what I think that they should honestly do that would just end this from happening is that now that Bungie... Okay, I'm going to add something onto the list right here. This is something that I wish Bungie would do. I mean, maybe not everyone will agree with this because it'll mean like less visual upgrades and maybe less, just upgrades from game to game. But what I think Bungie should do is when they make Destiny 3 or whatever they're going to call it, have that be the last one and then just add on to that game like a real MMO, just have one game and just expansion after expansion after that. Like don't fucking make us reset every, 3 years or whatever it is. Like just I don't know. Like I just think that'd be the best way to do it. And then I feel like that way they wouldn't be so much wasted developer time over stuff that's gonna be irrelevant after the next expansion.
Yeah, and if they do it that way, then if they brought back old exotics slowly and not as often, and like they weren't part of all the big like updates, then it might not be as big of a deal.
That's true. But the reason why I said that in the first place though is because of what you said about bringing back old weapons. Because if we only had one Destiny this whole time, like even if they weren't usable anymore, like we could still have them, and just to have them, like that way they could still exist in the game even if they weren't useful. Like say maybe some of them like get outdated or they just underleveled and they decide not to like bring infusion to certain things, kind of like they did with the. That's what I was just about to say. Well, they did it with the House of Wolves. No, they didn't do it with the House of Wolves. Taken King is when it first happened. But yeah, I wish they'd do something like that. Just that way they wouldn't have to bring old exotics back. Like just bring them, like make Destiny 3, put all the existing exotics in the game and add new ones, and then just go from there and just add new ones from there. That way we don't ever have to worry about this again.
Yeah. I guess with that, I guess we're pretty much wrapped up our feelings on what we think should be in Destiny 3.
What we want from Destiny 3. And needless to say, there's probably a bunch more. Hell, we might even make a second video of this.
Yeah.
But that's just it starting out. I mean, me and Bane probably go on a Destiny rant, I'd say once a week or two, just because we love the game so much. We're tough critics, but we're tough because we want Destiny to succeed because we see the potential. So, yeah. So Bungie, give us what we want in Destiny 3. Easy as that. I mean, it's not as easy as that, but give us what we want. We'll be happy.
Yep. And with that said, leave a like, subscribe, and hit that motherfucking bell.
Fucking ring that motherfucker. Peace.